Good morning and welcome back to Miniature Monday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at the map scale Overlord Dropships. That's right, I said drop ships, but we'll get into that in a minute. These are for use with games of Battletech and are produced by Catalyst Game Labs. Now, before we get into taking a look at these miniatures, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content. We've got live streams, and every now and again we'll do some different stuff. But love for you to come along, see what we have to share, see how it might relate to your games, and maybe it's a little bit interesting to you. There are also, just so you're aware, a couple of affiliate links down below to Drive-Thru RPG and Amazon. If you choose to use them, it does help out the channel. But regardless, we're just glad you're here. So, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this. So, first off, let's take a look at this. All right, so what we have here is the Overlord C dropship. Now, this is the clan version of the classic Overlord. Now, I didn't even know this was a thing. During the Kickstarter campaign for the Mercenaries expansion to Battletech, they announced that they were going to do an Overlord and they were going to do Union. We covered the Union previously, but the Overlord C was nowhere to be mentioned. And they did a sale over Christmas and offered 25% off. And so I was looking around and I noticed that the Overlord C was there. So I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and grab it. I'm going to save my final opinion for the end. But this is it. It's overall, I mean, it's a decent figure. It has comes with the legs. It is, it will fit, appropriately scaled to a map. However, that's a Timberwolf. Regular, Catalyst Game Labs Timberwolf. Essentially at the same height. The Overlord C is supposed to carry 45 battle mechs. Obviously, it's not to scale. So, do keep that in mind. Obviously, that's going to be kind of a big selling point for everybody. Do we want something that's to scale with the battle mechs? Or do we just want something that will represent it on the map and be good enough? I mean, let's be honest. Mechs are not map scale. Pretty much everything that is designed for Battletech is not true scale to the maps. So, do take that with a grain of salt. But some people don't necessarily know that. So keep that in mind. Now, with that said, overall, I think the miniature's decent. Okay? It's an egg. Let's be honest. You're really not going to get much more than, the fact that it's an egg. They've got some decent detail on the sides. I am rotating it this way because I cannot fit it in my little white box with my rotating turntable. So they've got, aerospace bays, which is funny because the Overlord C does not have those, but we'll get into that. Just some different vents, missile launchers, laser and PPC turrets. They've got kind of this dome added to the top of it for the Overlord C. So it's not super detailed. It's not crazy and exciting. It's a big armored egg. So do with that what you will. Overall, it's fine. I don't regret it for the price that I paid. It was, I do forget, so I'm looking it up real quick. I do apologize. It was $64.99 For the Overlord C, it is $59.99 for the regular Overlord. And we'll get to that one in just a second. So you are going to pay $5 more essentially to get the little dome on top. But that's about it. So that is the Overlord C. Now, give me a minute. We're going to reorganize the screen a little bit because now I'm going to show you the regular Overlord, and we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about the models themselves. All right, so here you can get a view from the top of the two Overlords. You can see the radar dish and an antenna on the regular Overlord, and it is also much more egg-shaped because it doesn't have this little top piece. Now, other than that, they're effectively the same model. Okay? Where the legs mount is the same, the laser turrets are all in the same places. The only real difference is this extra dome for the C and these little dishes and antenna for the standard Overlord. So overall, the model really is not very different. Now, this is going to be my biggest complaint. So right here on the side, you have these 6 slots, and that's where you're going to mount the legs. But you'll notice there's nothing to actually hold them in. The union was nice. The legs were a little looser than I would like, but they at least had pegs that would slot in so that you could take them off. You know, you could magnetize them, you could do all sorts of things very, very easily. But this one, you're going to have to be digging in, carving in, all sorts of things to try and make this slightly modular. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, let's be honest. I've got this now, and I just put a little bit of glue on each of the legs to keep them on. Partly so I can pop them off, but then I have to re-glue them. That's a whole separate issue. But basically, I just wanted to be able to show you what the legs looked like. It does stand very well. But my problem here is just that, you know, where am I going to store these? It's a weird shape. It's not going to play well pretty much with anything. So I would like to be able to put it back into the box and store it. It's not even a very fancy box, but it's got a nice the nice plastic clamshell that, you know, generally the Battletech stuff has been coming in. And you don't get that anymore. Well, I mean, let me phrase that. You get the plastic clamshell, but once you assemble it, you're not putting it away. Okay? So you're going to have to come up with a creative storage solution, you know, or it's going to have to be a display piece on the shelf, something like that. But somebody like me, I've got games, I've got books, I've got all sorts of stuff all over the place. I would have liked to be able to just take this apart, put it in my box that I keep all of my Battletech terrain. I have 3D printed a lot of terrain, but that's a story for another day. And be able to just store this with it, and I can't do that now. So, anyways, it's a little frustrating. It's a little annoying. Also, the legs, as you can see, you end up with these panels here on the side that stick out from the model, as opposed to sitting a bit more flush. I mean, these are supposed to be doors that seal up on the egg, but instead they poke out. So, all right, for the price that I paid, 25% off. So 45 for the regular Overlord and 46, 47 for the Overlord C. I'm really not upset over what I spent. I think it's reasonable for the size of model. I don't think that the regular price is necessarily worth it. I also regret a little bit getting both the C and the regular Overlord. I think if I had to pick just one, personally, I would go with the regular Overlord. I haven't gotten the Union because I actually borrowed my brother-in-law's to do the review video. I'll be honest, right now I'm kind of debating even getting that one. I like how the legs work with it better, but right now that's the biggest selling point. So, I don't know. I am a little conflicted. I do not think they are bad models. The detailing is, honestly, it's what I would expect. I don't need more detailing. It doesn't need to look fancier. But I don't know. I definitely don't need both of them. There's that. So who knows? We'll see. I will probably keep both just because we do different things with our games. But if I were to look back on it and make a decision, now that I have seen them, I would opt to just get a single dropship. Well, a single Overlord, I should say. So, anyways, that is that. They're not bad. Definitely, consider what do you want to spend on them. Like I said, at 25% off of regular retail, I'm kind of considering that worth it. Or at least a decent value. It's, they're bigger than, say, like a Warhammer Dreadnought, but they're not, you don't have to, outside of gluing on the legs, you don't have to assemble them. They're rather simple kits, so I would just kind of stick with it as is. Anyhow, that's my opinion. What do you think? Are you going to be picking up dropships? Did you order some as part of the Kickstarter? Let me know down in the comments. I want to hear your opinion. Did I get something wrong? Am I overthinking this? Have I, criticized the price too much? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. We'll talk about it. But with that said, folks, thanks so much for watching. If you appreciate it, share it with your friends, like the video, subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.